Hey everybody, welcome back to Mick. My name's Jack, your snack that smiles back. Creepy intros aside, welcome to finding out who is the a-hole. Here's today's bundle of drama for you. And if you enjoy your time here today, why not like the video and subscribe if you want to see more. For now though, sit back, relax, be ready to tell me how much of a stupid opinion I have, and let's get started. Now just quick, I've noticed that my mic quality for some reason dipped quite a bit throughout this one, so I apologize in advance for the sudden change in quality. Could I go back and re-record it all? Yes. Did I do so? You will find out.
First story. Am I the a-hole for making my daughter quit her job over the uniform? My daughter is a 17-year-old female and has been looking for a job since August because, well, she wants to start saving up to buy her own car. She had recently got hired at this sports restaurant bar called Walks-Ons. I've never heard of it, but apparently it's owned by some football player. Anyways, when she got the job, I told her I was proud of her, asked what her schedule would be like, the usual. I didn't know what the uniform looked like though. I was going to take her to her first day, but when I saw how she was dressed, I said no. I told her she is not working there. This is the uniform for that place. And here's the image for reference. Feel free to make your own judgments from that. She asked me what the issue was, and I told her I'm not gonna let her work at a place where that's the uniform. Men already hit on and harass female workers when they're fully clothed. So that short dress? Absolutely not. And clearly the owners of this restaurant are pervs for how they want to dress the women who work for them. I told my daughter to write a note telling her manager that she'd be quitting effective immediately. She said no, and I told her yes she will. It was written, it was taken to them, and she was extremely upset with me, but I told her I was just looking out for her, well, she can find a job that won't rely on prettiness and femininity, but skills. A couple days have passed and she still has not spoken to me. If I say something to her, she'll just respond shortly. When I got overwhelmed with it, I told her I don't like not talking to her. She told me she doesn't like being treated like she's a 15-year-old girl. I sighed and tried once again to explain myself, but she had walked away. I don't see how I'm in the wrong for being a protective father. Hopefully some parents see my point. I know she doesn't see it now, but all I was doing was looking out. Was I somehow in the wrong? Well, the moment you mentioned you're a father, I feel is going to really construe how people view this. In your effort to quell perverted toxic men from your daughter, you're sort of restricting her in the same way a toxic man would. But you're also her parent, and therefore kind of are justified to be wanting to be protective. So, what do we think then? Let's look at some AITA points first. Speak to any waitress. If a man is going to be terrible, they'll be terrible while you're in a turtleneck too. Your daughter is close to being an adult, who will soon get to choose whatever she wants to wear. This outfit is quite frankly tame in comparison to what a lot of people wear for nights out in college. She's being responsible by getting a job, and instead of teaching her how to deal with men who treat her poorly, you're essentially punishing her. Now personally, I don't feel like he's punishing her. In another view, he could be saving her from falling into a toxic environment where she ends up growing up into maturity believing it's completely normal and okay for men to be perverted and harassing towards her as an object. Because hey, it's what she deals with at work all the time and she just banters it off because, oh, men are just being men, they're just attracted to young women, it's normal. I mean, the fact this comment points out. Oh, well, men are gonna be doing it anywhere regardless, so it doesn't matter if she's wearing more skimpier clothing at her workplace. I just feel like that doesn't justify going to a workplace where it's just further encouraged from men. We have other valid points though, that clothes aren't the reason why harassment happens. Telling women to wear more clothes doesn't solve the problem. If she gets a job as a waitress with a sack for a uniform, customers will still harass her. And that's true. Look, if some scummy guy out there is going to be perverted and intentionally harass women, he's going to find a way to do it regardless of what women try to do to quell it. He will seek it. That's not to say it's expected that all men are generally going to be like that, but just to squash the idea that it's because of how women dress that men act this way. Another AITA comment points out the very fact that you trying to restrict your daughter's freedom is exactly what's going to cause you to lose her in the future, and it's unfortunately true. Look, you have every right to be protective of what your child is exposed to. After all, anyone to deny the fact that the women wearing these cheerleading skimpyish outfits are not for men's own enjoyment to watch these women as they serve, I mean, come on, let's be honest. Men don't go to Hooters for the nice food. But I think you should talk to your daughter about whether or not she is comfortable and is aware of how to deal with these kind of people, rather than you making it all about the uniform. This comment does summarize it nicely. You're not protecting her, you're suffocating and controlling her, and you'll only cause her to resent you and pull away from you. You will think back to this moment when it's 5 years from now and she's moved out and you haven't heard from her or seen her in years. Those are just my 2 cents on the matter though. What's your opinion? Feel free to leave your comments down below. In the meantime, let's do the next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend that her being so woke embarrasses me? We were hanging out with my sister and her boyfriend last night, and we were just talking about random fears. I said I still hate the movie Scream because one night when I was 7, my mum asked me to look in her closet because there was a noise, and it was probably just the new puppy, but closets freak her out. And my dad was out, so I am the man of the house. My dad was in the closet and scared the frick out of me with a Scream mask the weekend after my cousin let me watch the movie. I thought it was just a random, funny story everyone would laugh at, but my girlfriend took it seriously and said that was kind of abusive. I told her I never felt that way and it was just a prank. She said telling a 7-year-old that they are the man of the house is setting them up for toxic masculinity. Oh no. My sister just said wow and rolled her eyes, but it was kind of uncomfortable. I told my girlfriend in the car that sometimes I think she tries to act too woke and it embarrasses me. She got mad and said I am making her personality seem like some image she is trying to project, but I feel like I have the right to be honest. My first thoughts are kind of everyone sucks here, to be honest. Cause look, reality is you can have your thoughts on people who are woke all you want, but fact remains, their intentions Jeez, Jack, learn words. Their intentions are pure. They care about others and want people to be respected. Like, how can you criticize someone for wanting that? It's how some go about projecting that behavior, though, is where it can become quite problematic and difficult to work with. She's definitely the a-hole to try and make a big deal out of this thing that you clearly pointed out wasn't a big deal. I mean, after all, if you were really so influenced by this toxic masculinity, I doubt she, of all people, would be interested in dating you. But you to try and shame her for merely caring about you and wanting to point out that you have every right to have been hurt from that happening, yeah, I don't think you should be shutting her down like this. It seems to be a bit of a waste of time. Personally, I don't think being called man of the house is toxic in any way. If you were being told that at the cost of having to tell the older sisters you had that they had to follow whatever you did despite you being younger and less mature than them, then yeah, I can see a problem with that. But most people use the term man of the house to encourage their younger male child to develop a sense of maturity and responsibility. Plus, if anything, in this scenario, it was obviously set up to encourage you, as a kid, to, be brave and look into the closet for the sake of the prank to actually work. Doing a prank on a child every once in a while isn't abusive. Doing it excessively, you're crossing the line. And getting ticked off at your child when they prank you back, that's definitely problematic. Some, like I Ate Burger, do point out the fact that you shouldn't really criticize her for being woke when you're the one deciding to date her, basically blaming you for her behavior. Of course, on the AITA side of things, people are focusing on the fact that, yeah, you pointed out that her wokeness was embarrassing when really, if you think about it, all she was doing was being concerned for you and trying to defend you in the scenario. She expressed concern for you, dude. Respect that. But then there's Bobby on the fence here. No a-holes here. I think this is just a reasonable difference of opinion. It's a pretty major one, and I think that could be a tough one to overcome, but I don't think it's right to say either person is objectively correct. You just have opposing outlooks on wokeness and gender issues. I would try to ignore the posts on here that base their answer on you being right or her being right. That's what happens in threads with a heated, controversial core issue like this. That isn't going to give you any meaningful insight about your question. That's more of an opinion survey about using the phrase man of the house with kids. So I'm on everyone sucks here personally, but what do you think? It is quite complicated, but we are merely focusing on the fact if he is the a-hole for being embarrassed by her wokeness. For now, on to the next story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to get rid of the anime body pillow that saved my marriage? Honestly, best title I've ever read so far. My husband and I are best friends during the day, love of my life. It's at night that's an issue. I'm a blanket stealer. I once yanked them so hard, poor hubby flipped a full 180. Hubby, for his part, is a thrasher. Bruce Lee would be jealous of the moves he pulls off while unconscious. It's a constant war between us when we fall asleep, and both of us often wake up sore and exhausted. It was starting to affect our relationship. Neither of us wanted to move to a separate bed because we like spending our nights together, but it seemed like an inevitability. We were both crabby every morning, and we started fighting as soon as we got up. It sucked, but neither of us wanted to concede defeat and move to the other bed. Quick background, I was a huge nerd as a teenager, a full-on otaku. Go ahead, cringe. I do too. One night, as a joke, I brought down an old anime body pillow from the attic, I know, the cringe, and plopped it down between my husband and I, declaring it our demilitarized zone. Hubby also thought it was hilarious, and we named her DMZ-chan. She stayed there the whole night. It was a game changer. DMZ-chan protected me from hubby's REM-induced rampages, and she's just heavy enough that I can't yank the blankets at full speed. DMZ-chan is now a beloved part of our nightly routine. We both thought it was the funniest thing, but she legitimately helped us solve the only real issue in our marriage. Though one day, mother-in-law, of course it's the mother-in-law, stopped by to pick something up. She got to use the restroom, passing by our open bedroom door. You can guess what she saw. DMZ-chan, propped up in the middle of our bed, her giant, soulful anime eyes looking right back at mother-in-law. When she got back, she quickly grabbed her stuff and left. Hubby and I both confused. She later mentioned DMZ-chan to hubby while they were on the phone, and it absolutely mortified him. As far as I know, mother-in-law now thinks we're deviants in a three-way relationship with a body pillow. Husby was too embarrassed to explain, and now he wants to put DMZ-chan back in the attic. I was so upset. I told him I didn't want to go back to boxing each other at night, and that DMZ-chan helped us so much in that. He agreed, but suggested we get a normal, plain body pillowcase to replace her. I felt there was no need to spend money on something we already have, and if it really was that big of an issue, we can put her in the closet while we have company over. Hubby is firm in that she has to go permanently. I know that he's embarrassed, but I feel we shouldn't have to compromise our inside jokes to appease other people. Am I the a-hole? Let's look at the comments. Nata, a bit weird your mother-in-law got so offended, but I do understand where she's coming from, as many people view anime as taboo. If the pillow features an anime girl who looks extra young, as many do, then that would also be a part of why she became so upset. Your husband feeling uncomfortable now should be taken into account as well. Getting a new pillow will alleviate everyone's stress and will avoid an argument. Now, the OP did link an image to something similar to what her body pillow looks like, and here it is for you to peruse. Now, I'm hoping this isn't something that's enough to get me demonetized, but let's be real here. Is this exactly something you'd see on someone's pillow or bed and not think, that looks like a fetish? I mean, I know it's the mother-in-law getting all antsy about this, but let's be real here. A mother-in-law seeing this? How the heck would she not think this is totally weird? On the AITA side though, just think this is really the hill you want to die on. I don't think it's unreasonable to be embarrassed. It's something he might have been fine with because it's just the two of you, but now he might be realizing anyone who accidentally walks by might see it. It's a factor he hasn't considered and has changed his opinion. That happens. He has presented a perfectly reasonable compromise in a new pillow or pillowcase, and you have shut him down because you don't think his feelings are valid. That isn't okay. And that's just it. He has offered a compromise. He still wants the body pillow to be there, he just doesn't want it to be something that, well, when everyone goes into that bedroom, they're immediately going to think it's his. I think he's absolutely justified to be upset by this, and you have every reason to compromise with him for it. I think you are the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for calling my best friend's boyfriend Daddy? So me and my best friend were talking, and she told me that she doesn't call her boyfriend Daddy in bed. That's fine and everything, but she told me that he calls himself Daddy. I thought it was hilarious and teased her about it. She said she liked that he did that because it was sexy to her without her being cringy. I told her that I was gonna start teasing him and calling her boyfriend Daddy now. We were all hanging out the other day and I jokingly called him Daddy. And she was pretty upset with me not, getting the joke at all. She asked me why I thought it'd be okay to call her man Daddy and that it made her and him feel uncomfortable. I told her it was a joke and that I thought it'd be an inside joke. Well, she said she told me that in confidence and that she will no longer share things that her and her boyfriend do. I said that she was being dramatic and told her to stop being so insecure. She said that I was an a-hole and need to learn about boundaries. So am I the a-hole here? It's an interesting one because on one hand, if it was such a big deal for you not to do it, she would have put her foot down there and then when you suggested it jokingly in the first place. It's really on her for letting you get away with it beforehand. But I also feel you telling her to chill out and not be so upset about it is kind of dismissing the whole fact that you really did kind of push a button that you didn't need to push. I mean, regardless if you intended it as a joke, it wasn't really something to be saying out loud, especially in front of the boyfriend. I feel the kind of pillow talk stuff that a lot of friends give each other really shouldn't be expressed towards the other partner unless the other partner is aware and is already comfortable with their partner sharing that information. I mean, here's the thing. If you don't appreciate it when your partner tells their friends about the kind of stuff you get up to in the bedroom or the stuff you like or the weird things you do or noises you make, then don't do the same back to them when it comes to your own friends. Anyway, let's not ramble too much. What are some other opinions? Nata, your friend sounds pretty insecure. Give her some time to realize she might have overreacted though. I would just continue on as if it didn't happen. Don't try to make it something you're apologetic about. It was a joke. She didn't like it. Move on. If she really doesn't get over it, maybe you aren't as good of friends as you thought. Not all friends are best friends. You've got to accept that there are many levels of friendship. No, you are the a-hole. She's right. Learn boundaries. She told you she was upset and you called her dramatic. When someone tells you that you upset them, you should listen to what they're saying and why. If she doesn't call her man Daddy, it should be pretty obvious that you shouldn't. Friends talk to each other about this stuff, but that doesn't mean you have to make fun of their significant other with what they tell you. Learn to read the room. On to the next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my significant other that I'll move out if he doesn't quit his job? My boyfriend and I have recently moved in together. We've been dating for nearly 2 years, and due to COVID, we didn't see each other for the majority of 6 months, which was what led to us moving in together. A month before I moved in, he got a new job. He's working in sales and his pay is 100% commission-based. In the last 3 or so months, he's made $0. Money isn't necessarily tight right now because he does well as a day trader, but I'm also upset because his job is morally questionable in many other ways. His boss has, whipped his pee-pee out and peed on the floor just to display dominance. You know, like a dog. He's also refused to wear any type of personal protective equipment because he thinks it's liberal bull smack. He's deliberately scammed clients and then laughed about it. Also took the whole company on to a strip club in the middle of a pandemic because he felt like it, and got mad when my boyfriend denied a lap dance. Convinced other co-workers to go to illegal brothels with him, singled out my significant other in particular, and berated him in front of everyone else for hours just because he's a new hire and hasn't cried in front of him yet. This is only what my boyfriend has told me about his work. Oh, and about a week ago, my boyfriend comes home sick. Thankfully, it wasn't COVID, but that just shows how little they care about hygiene amidst a global pandemic. Clearly this job is a joke, but the commission is 6% on deals of 100k and up, so when the money comes, it's good. My boyfriend is too prideful to quit, and it's driving me insane. My boyfriend is insanely mad at me for giving such an ultimatum, but this place is disgusting, and he works 9 to 5 with nothing in return. Am I such a bad girlfriend for not supporting his absolute poop show? I mean, if he was the boss, absolutely are you justified in wanting to leave him because of what he's doing, but you're punishing him for being the victim to all of this. Like, damn, how dare your boss pee in front of you, dude? If you don't get upset about it, I'm going to make this over. What? You're dealing with a toxic environment. You need to change, otherwise I am going to leave you. I don't understand the justification here. On the OP side though, it's an incredibly toxic place and he hasn't really made any money yet. You may need to reevaluate this relationship and your boyfriend's attitude, so since he seems to have no issues working for this place, find a sane boyfriend. I mentioned this kind of scenario in a previous video, but you've got to choose your battles when it comes to stuff like this. It's similar to what police will do in regards to drug busts. They could immediately arrest and charge and send to jail the person they've caught with drugs, or they could let them off with a slight warning, keep track of them, and subtly use them as a way to find out where the big heads are in the whole scheme. Sure, they're letting a few people get away with some bad things, depending on what exactly they're getting away with, but through those means, it justifies the end goal. The ends justify the means is what I'm really trying to say, but terribly executing it. Just because the boyfriend isn't immediately snapping back at his boss for his boss's clearly habitual behavior, I don't think that shows that the boyfriend is totally compliant with it all. Some info though. Has your boyfriend changed emotionally in how he acts towards you, or is your issue just where he works? I say mostly unchanged. He's just a bit crankier sometimes after a particularly long day of getting yelled at. I'm mostly just upset he works in such a place. Ah, there we are. There it is. So it isn't actually at all to do with the fact that you feel uncomfortable with how he treats you or anything like that. It's completely because of your opinion that this place is terrible, which, I mean, let's agree, it is a very valid opinion, that you are pretty much willing to break up with him just because he's dealing with a terrible work environment. I don't know, I think honestly, maybe you should leave him because clearly you suck at being a supportive partner. And hey, look, if you really want him to absolutely adhere to what your request is, maybe you should take some notes from the boss yourself and apply a bit of dominance. Just grab a few glasses of water, wait for he comes home, and spray him with a bit of bit of dominance.
And there we have it, the end of today's drama and stories, and I've recently discovered what was going on with my microphone. I had it on the wrong output settings. So, I'm an idiot. We'll just clarify that. Regardless, if you enjoyed your time today, I hope you would like this video to show your appreciation. And your thoughts and opinions on everything is much appreciated in the comments below. Especially any thoughts you have on the story, or just thoughts on other ways I could present this stuff for you. While I do enjoy talking and reading about these things in my casual time, I do like to do this for you. I want to make this as entertaining for you as possible. So again, your thoughts and feedback is always loved and appreciated. But for now, I will be off. My name has been Jack. You have been a lovely person to ramble at as always. I will see you for the next one. Fare thee well.